last time I spoke, it was kind of at close to an end, the relationship I mentioned to you, I think.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
but what I ended up, long
So
story short, what,
communication is
oh, is
not
it?
so good anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know why, actually. Uh, is it now better?
Uh, I can, I think.
Yeah. Is it
I
better
think
now?
so.
Yeah.
We can keep going and see.
Yeah. I think what actually happens of what makes it slower is when it connects to Bluetooth on my car.
I think. Okay.
So
So there were.
I just disconnected the Bluetooth and I turned
Yeah.
off the audio part. So now I think it's working
Okay.
better. That's maybe why.
Okay. Yeah.
But
That's okay.
yeah, so with my girlfriend, it's a whole long story, but I ended up having a third conversation with her like a month to 2 months ago at this point, uh, about whether or not she's cheating and what's wrong or whatever. Because before then, I told my friend Tanya, Vanessa, and maybe one or two other people. Like I told them all the circumstantial evidence that made me like believe maybe she could be cheating or whatever, and they thought for sure she was cheating. Um, but then when I finally checked in with my girlfriend that third and final time, if
But then it
she's
turned out she wasn't cheating, but she had questions about it.
yeah, so this was a new time I haven't told you about, but it was basically of that sort, but she got to a point of like well, she said like she's been questioning the relationship since day one and that she hasn't been cheating at all, blah blah blah, and it seemed genuine, uh, and that it would just be a thing where yeah, she just wasn't into me in a lot of regards and wanted me to get a full-time job and this and that or whatever. Um, but then she ended up, because of that, realizing on the spot, like, wait a minute, like, why should I even
Yeah.
bother being with you? Like, if I haven't been wanting to be with you and have been questioning it since the start. So she like was about to break up on the spot. Uh, but then throughout the night, we kind of came to a conclusion. I suggested like I said like I would love to continue being with you, which is the truth and stuff like that. But I said that if like there's no rush for you to make this decision. Like you can tell me whenever if you want to like stay with me or if you want to break up with me or if you want to continue but be in an open relationship or what. Because a few weeks before then, I don't know if I told you that conversation about she and I talked about whether or not we were going to get an open relationship.
Okay.
Or well, we basically concluded that we would at some point soon. And like she was anyways the one who mentioned it like the second day we got in a relationship of potentially wanting to get in one.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyways, like that night, it was like a weird night. It seemed like it was for sure gonna end some point soon.
Right.
Then the next day, uh, I I slept over her house, and that next morning I brought her to get her car like fixed, her windshield or whatever, before she went to work. And then during the day, she messaged me asking if I wanted to go to Salem, like for a date or whatever. And so it was a great date and stuff like that. She even paid for my dinner or whatever, and it was strange because it was a complete 360 from what she was acting the day before. She seemed completely into me. And then later that night, we had like I gave oral sex to her or whatever, and she finished and stuff. And so then she said that I could have sex with her after, and And so that happened, but I noticed it seemed like she wasn't really enjoying it. So I asked her, "Is there something wrong or whatever?" I didn't know if she was mad at me or we're not enjoying it or whatever. But then she like uh, started being mean, saying like she hasn't liked sex since the beginning, and that because I don't do oral sex, and ooh, my it says my phone is overheating. Interesting.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, that can happen sometimes these days
Yeah.
with hot temperatures.
Yeah, I'm putting it by the AC.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it seems fine now. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so she was yeah, all like rude and stuff like that. I think it was a thing where she just um was just like overtired and like upset in general.
Okay.
I don't think what she was saying was like fully her full feelings. I don't think she never, you know. I think it's a thing where she was just so upset about the fact that I wasn't giving as much oral sex as she would want. Um, but yeah, so she was being rude and stuff like that. And then after that, uh, and then she was like saying stuff about how like, oh, she doesn't wanna like just going back to the points of like the day before of like I don't have a full time job, this that whatever, um, and so then I decided to kind of rant at her, because of like a conversation Anthony and I had like the night before whatever through messaging was basically saying that like why is she complaining about this stuff? Because I'm like 5 years younger than her. I'm doing a lot better than the average person my age. I have a college degree. I'm doing a lot better than most people who don't have a college degree, and I'm doing like maybe average compared to a person that has a college degree. And another thing to note too is my girlfriend. She's in biotech, and she makes like about 100K a year or so, which like, and she's like 5 years older than me. So it's she's like kind of a rare case in the country and then especially the world to be in that kind of bracket. Um, so so yeah, long story short, I ended up saying kind of all those points to my girlfriend, and that like you're acting like my ex Katerina, who would like have all these idealized kind of boyfriend characteristic in her head, but it was just way too unrealistic. And then another thing too is like once I would end up achieving any of those things Katerina would idealize, it just wasn't enough. And then she would always want more or whatever. And I said to my girlfriend like, or a point she like kind of said back early on was that how she's just very worried because she doesn't want to be one to like have to take care of me, and then also since she's like almost 30 and she wants to have kids and get married someday, she wants to make sure that whoever she's with is the right one,
Okay.
which is completely valid. But I was saying to her like, yeah, it's like fine if she finds anyone else, but like she needs to realize that if she keeps on looking for an unrealistic or like very rare, idealized, perfect situation, then she's gonna keep chasing that and then never be happy. And she's chasing the wrong things. She's chasing money and this and that, whatever. When she doesn't realize that she should be chasing like like good, healthy relationship, good, healthy friendships, the things that matter in life, or at least should matter, instead of material and money. But I honestly, and like the thing too is like it's not like it's a situation where like Carrie, she didn't have a college degree, she would work like minimum wage type jobs, um, like that kind of person I can understand people being concerned about, because then you would potentially struggle as a couple in the future if both of you are at that level. But if you're at a level like mine or anyone with like a college degree getting like an average amount of money, you don't have to worry about that
Right.
kind of struggle.
Sure.
But basically, the end note was after that rant, uh, ever since then, she was even more into me and even more nice to me and like close to me, and it's been very. She's been very close, and also she even. I think I mentioned long ago that around our 2 month area of being together, she said, "I love you," like, but you have like chocolate all over your face, something like that. She like accidentally said, "I love you."
Right.
But then I said, "I love you" around like the 3 month or so area when we were together. But she said, "Honestly, I don't love you back. I don't want to say it if I don't mean it." Blah blah blah.
Sure.
And so ever since then, like rarely I would say I love you, but get no response or whatever.
Okay.
But then I think it was less than a week ago or a week ago, I don't remember. But I said like I love you or whatever,
Yeah.
and she said I love you back and has been saying it back ever since.
Okay.
And like I was discussing all this with my friend Andrea yesterday, or 2 days ago, and she was saying, and she and I, what we're worried about isn't exactly a thing of like, let's say if I end up getting a full-time job, this, that, or whatever, uh, like the thing is, the worry is if she's gonna be like Katarina in the sense that if I do achieve the full-time job and all the things that she like finds is a necessity, which I absolutely can obtain and will be obtaining soon.
And that you would probably be doing regardless of her.
Yeah,
That's in your life.
exactly. But the issue here is if it ends up being a situation where once I achieve that stuff, she's going to be wanting more, or like, and keep on chasing more and never be happy. And what my friend and I think and hope is not the case is that we hope that this isn't some sort of temporary feeling she has right now of being so into me, which can definitely be a possibility. So I also mentioned to her the whole open relationship possibility, whether or not I should do that or what resolution should do, blah blah.
Right.
And she was suggesting more so I shouldn't do the open relationship possibility because that could make things even messier or whatever. Um, but I thought a few reasons why I should start it. One, because I don't know. Um, it's like a safety net kind of thing. Uh, for multiple regards, emotion wise, because then I'd already have one or more people I'd potentially be in contact with or seeing or whatever. And then another thing too is then if at any point in the relationship or whatever she ends up not being as much into me and I'm not able to have sex and get sexually frustrated or whatever. There's just reasons why I would have an open relationship in place. Um, but it's kind of for my satisfaction, but also regardless, since she mentioned it in the first place, a potential open relationship, I feel it was going to happen at some point, and she said that she would prefer it to happen anyway. So I decided to end up starting it yesterday, and we already have rules in place or whatever, and it seems like she's not interested in seeing anyone or doing anything with anyone, unless it's like kind of thing, like if she's at a club with friends or whatever and she makes out with someone, that's kind of it or whatever, or like
And what are the rules that you have in place?
the same, meaning to use protection and not get emotionally invested in anyone, which was the same rule that I had with Carrie when we were in an open relationship, but she broke both rules. So yeah, so that can be a problem. But
And so, you guys you just established, all right, you're in an open relationship and you made the rules. How did she respond to your saying that you wanted to do it?
uh, she she said how she would prefer being in an open relationship. That was like her response. She said, But also she said how this was a part that was interesting that she mentioned was she said how she's not going to be one like she doesn't see an open relationship or she's not going to be one to want to go on dates with anyone.
Okay.
And that it would just be a thing where it would, you know what I mean, if it's like, yeah, so I thought that was interesting how she said that. But yeah, long story short, it seems that our relationship is getting a lot better, but this very well could be a temporary thing. I don't know how it's
Okay.
gonna be.
And has she offered anything to explain sort of the changes in her? I mean, you know that it happened after those particular conversations took place, but I'm wondering if you guys have talked about that. If she shared any insights about herself?
No, because I wonder if it could be one, just randomize how she started feeling that way, or two, maybe she came to a realization of one or more things I said, and that she realized that she was maybe being silly or something like that, and taking me for granted, etc.
Okay.
But I'm not sure exactly. And like I thought about asking at one point, but at the same time, I feel like one that could just trigger her to get out of that phase, or upset her, or maybe I don't know. Uh, that's a very good question.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear, you know, what she has to say about that. You know, what that was like for her. I mean, if it's a real thing, if it's a real change and truly, reflects how she's feeling, it shouldn't matter that you ask her about it. It should be like, oh, you're right. Oh, never mind. Or,
Yeah, that's very true. I may actually at this point ask, yeah. But that's one situation. Now we only have 7 minutes. All the other ones are very short but very interesting.
Sure.
I'll keep them very short. One is my girlfriend's friend named David. I met him once before, and we figured out that he knows. Remember that girl I was supposed to get in a relationship with in the fall?
Oh.
Yeah, named Bree. So this guy David, his younger sister was friends with Bree back in the day, like when they were in high school, or something like that. And Bree is originally from another town and then moved to Bridgewater. I didn't know that. But so I met David a second time uh, last weekend, and I met David's brother as well. Um, because we went to their Cape House in Wareham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a weird coincidence happened. So it turns out that that girl Bree and her family or whatever, they have a Cape House 2 doors down from them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we were there at like the little beach shore right there, and it's like, and I can just see that like there were people outside that house or whatever, so she could have been there and saw me or something like that.
Wow.
But I was having like long, deep, and good conversation with David's brother. He's like a couple years older than me. But one thing we were bonding about was just girls that are like crazy that we've dealt with in the past. He had a long-term relationship, his longest relationship, with a girl who has bipolar, and she would just do a lot of manipulation and abusive stuff, and was a pathological liar. Which ever since stopping being friends with Shane, sadly, I got to a point of just seeing a lot of bipolar people as in a negative light, of seeing a lot of them as pathological liars, manipulators, etc. Which I would prefer not looking at them that way, but sadly, it's like I think a reality. Um, but so, anyways, he ended up telling me that that girl Bree, that it was good that I didn't get in a relationship with her because she and her family are crazy. Yeah, and like unstable and everything like that. And he said I like dodged a bullet. So That's a very interesting coincidence, and it's actually kind of nice to hear that because I thought like maybe I'm over exaggerating of that she was crazy, but I was right. Um, so there's that situation. Also, I was supposed to I while I was in Maine, I was kind of coordinating with Angus to try to hang out with him this past weekend because I haven't seen him for like a couple years. Um,
Okay.
and he said, yeah, let's hang out, blah blah. And
Yeah.
um, then like after the second message, he was like, oh, but I'll have to check. I might not be free this weekend or whatever. And then I checked in on Friday, which we were gonna try to hang out on Sunday,
Okay.
and he didn't reply. And then Sunday morning, I also messaged him, and he didn't reply either. Um, so my theory is either maybe he was poorly influenced by like Cam and that crew
Okay.
to not hang out with me, and or maybe it was a thing where since he hasn't seen me in so long, he would feel more comfortable if like my friend Anthony would join in too, because Anthony,
Yeah. Okay.
me, and
Okay.
him were gonna hang out at some point, which I think it's more likely that. Um, so I'm gonna give him 3 more tries in trying to hang out with him,
Okay.
um, and then I have a couple more things to say. Let me see. Oh, okay. Um, so one thing was when I was there in Ogunquit, Maine, in the downtown area, me and Ryan were driving. I was driving in my car. I even took a photo of him or whatever because I it was a lot of traffic and stuff and very slow. And I looked to
Sure.
my left and remember Josh, the one who would stalk me,
Yes.
the John J. Michael for president and stuff. He
Right.
was
Yes.
walking with his parents right there, right next to me. What a strange coincidence. Yeah, he
Another strange coincidence.
yeah, he
Wow.
didn't
Goodness.
notice me, thankfully.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was interesting. Out of all the places and out of all the people.
Right. Right. That's. Oh my goodness.
And then
Wow.
there's 2 really quick other things. So I like after I stopped earlier in the very earlier in the pandemic towards the beginning or whatever, I had like a few dreams with Shane's brother in it and like Shane in it or whatever. Uh, but ever since then, I really haven't had any one of those people in it. But then
Okay.
suddenly, uh, I think last week or something like that, I had, or earlier in the week, I don't remember. I had like a few nights in a row that Cam and Nick and Shane or whatever, not Shane, but Cam and Nick were in
Okay.
my dreams.
Yeah.
But then because of that, it triggered me to check Cam's Instagram because I was curious. And then while I was at it, um, I used my Facebook to check because I unblocked, as I mentioned to you before, unblocked everyone for North Attleboro except for Shane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so I checked and I noticed that Mary, the one who was living on the third floor, blocked me apparently on Facebook, which would mean she looked me up within the past few months to block me,
Yeah. That's interesting.
which is very strange.
Yeah.
Um, so I so that's one thing that happened. Then yesterday, this is the last story, is
Yeah.
Roz. She's the one that Shane and her like did stuff before, and Roz,
Yep.
I've only seen her a few times in the pandemic. Uh, she was messaging in a group chat to me, Christian, and Ryan or whatever if we wanted to go to a festival in Newton, um, Carnival, and he also said that he asked Shane if he wanted to join too. So apparently
Okay.
she's still been in contact with Shane. But I said, out of curiosity, like I was saying, oh, like I didn't really tell her the full story of what happened, but I said he was crazy or
Okay.
whatever earlier in the pandemic.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I said to her, "Oh, I'm pretty sure him and everyone in his town hates me." And then she said, "I don't think so. I'll check." And then she messaged Shane, and he said he wouldn't want to go there if I'm there, or something like that, and that he hates me, blah blah blah. So and then I ended up hanging out with Roz for a little bit yesterday before I headed to my girlfriend's, and apparently Roz hasn't hung out with him at all since me and others stopped hanging out with him. But I don't know if she's telling the truth or not, because it's kind of random that this, like, random month. But who knows? So I thought that was interesting, all of that stuff.
Right. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a fantastic time in San Diego. It sounds like it'll be a great trip.
Yes.
And then we'll see, if you've met up with the person that you're going to see in P-Town. We'll see if you've already done that by the next time I see you, or maybe not quite.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope you hear back from the second level interview. We'll see how that goes too.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Where are you going to Cabela's?
No, Frank already got it long ago.
What? Do you have an extra one?
Frank got a pizza long ago, so I'm going home to eat it. I was at Albemarle Park doing my appointment.
From where did you get the pizza? Franco's?
No, Carmelo's.
Cabela's? Perfect. Bring me the slice.
Yeah, I'll see.
What do you mean you'll see?
Whatever. If there's leftover,
Whatever your
yeah.
mother.
The what?
I said whatever your mother.
Yeah, I'll get.
Make sure you
Yeah.
actually bring your shit this time.
The what? Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, then Cape Time. How's the traffic like?
I don't know. Let me check 1 second.
Yeah.
From here, it is an hour 41 right now. But by the time you get here, it probably won't be that long.
Yeah. Not bad.
There was a crash somewhere in Boston.
Yeah.
I think time, but whatever.
Cape Time, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Alright, well, I'll let you go. Please and thank you. If there's extra pizza, bring me some. I'm fucking starving and I just had a salad.
Do you like mushroom pizza? That's what Frank got.
Yeah, sure.
Alright.
But if there's extra of the cheese.
No, there's no cheese. It's
Oh,
mushroom and then one side pepperoni.
Oh, well then bring whatever the fuck is,
Yeah. Alright.
I'll eat whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I like either.
I don't care.